All right. Well, I forgot to press record. Just gotta remind me. Help me. I often forget to press record. There's too many things happening. All right. The Pixar story. What did you guys think? Interesting story. Filled with drama, teamwork, technical innovation, creativity, and a lot of business acumen. Morning, Pinar. Welcome to class. All right, we're on page 10 and 11 of your Lars 3, chapter 1 still. If you read it, great. We added some new words into our Quizlet, which I did not record. Let's just go by the word. Let's go over the words real quickly. We're just adding words every week to this list, all the words from the book. If you have any other books that if you don't have any words that you don't understand, check them out. Where did we start with this? We added all the blue words and some extra. Okay, words like acumen, entice. Okay, it's not in TJ. Let's look at the word entice. One of the nice things, if you watch Youglish, if you watch this Youglish thing, okay, you can find the context when it's being used. Okay, where does it often come? What words come before? What comes after? Which field? Is it scientists talking about it? Is it art? Right. So ensemble, that word, that team. We find this often in music and art and theater. Okay, not often in like talking about companies or businesses. But I also think because they're talking about art, about computer-generated imagery, making movies, you have this feeling of an art ensemble.
In 1998.
Dream Ensemble Cast.
Dream Ensemble Cast. Okay, let's do it.
Dream Ensemble Cast.
Benicio del Toro, Dwayne Johnson, Sienna Miller, Emily Mortimer, Ryan Reynolds, Blake Lively, me, cast it, let's do it. It's going to be...
Okay, so she's talking about the cast of a movie. And if we remember our task that we're supposed to do for reading, we're going to be reading a book, and then one of the things you can do for the what is that word? One of the things you could do is you could choose who's going to play the characters in the book you're reading. Okay, that's what she's talking about. The ensemble is the cast of actors and actresses.
Huge.
It's going to be huge.
Yeah.
Exponential time. On the other hand, on this ensemble of instances, it worked much better than we expected.
And this one, he's just using the word group.
Would be extremely strong. I think this is the advantage of having ensemble membership that doesn't say.
Okay, where is she sitting? This is like a theater, right? This is like the stage. Once again, talking about that. So I like Youglish because if looking up a word, you can also see where it's being used, why it's being used, the context, right? Let's look up this word entice.
Before, but that continue to surprise and entice you. Are there particular things?
Right,
Hoping to entice a dragon with his health-conscious chocolate brand.
Was the United States able to entice everybody over to Bretton Woods? Well, here's how.
And try to entice other Muslim peoples.
Many campaigns were studying voting habits in order to try and entice low propensity voters into the booths.
Okay, this one they're talking about enticing voters. What do you give them?
If sinners without much oversight, and for mortgage brokers to entice home buyers.
This is Obama.
Or the Arctic, and that may entice them.
A lot of my book.
Are there things that entice you that
We'll buy lunch and entice them out? We just basically interview them.
So this is a little bit of background. Some of it's to entice you to read this book.
Entice you to read this book, right? So reasons to make you want to do something, to entice somebody. Maybe I entice you to come to class by nothing. Nothing. Can't entice you. But if you come, you'll learn, okay? So we have words like ensemble, firm, and firm is interesting. They use it in this to talk about a company, but it also has another meaning as an adjective. Something is firm or soft. I like a firm pillow when I sleep. Some people like soft pillows. Some people like firm beds. Some people like soft beds. I don't know. Firm. Some people like firm tofu. Some people like it soft. Okay, firm and soft. We talk about food. We talk about feeling. We talk about things on our body, stuff like that. Drastic, salvation, expertise, pay off. This is a phrasal verb. Okay, when we talk about phrasal verbs, we talk about these things called idioms, idiomatic meaning. Okay, and it doesn't mean to pay the bill. You can pay off your loans. If you have credit card debts, you can pay them off. But this payoff means that you get good results. Okay, so all the work that I did running this weekend has paid off. And I don't know, maybe I'll be able to run faster tomorrow. All the work that I did studying for university paid off, and here I am today. Right? Payoff. To pay off. Pay off. Okay? And one of those weird things when you use phrasal verbs is that the emphasis goes at the end. Okay? Work out. Pay off. Right? It doesn't go pay off. It's pay off. It paid off. So people use it a little bit differently even. The word take off, right, is different from take off your shoes when you come in the house. Take off your shoes. The plane is going to take off. Okay? That off goes up on a phrasal verb. On just a regular verb with a preposition, it kind of goes down. We don't use that off so much. I mean, we don't put emphasis on it when it's just a preposition. But when it's part of a phrasal verb, you're going to hear it sound different, right? So it paid off, okay? Versus I paid off my bills. I paid off my loans yesterday. That's how I would say that. But, you know, all the studying that I did paid off. It goes up. Okay, so when you use phrasal verbs, make sure that that particle, that the thing that looks like a preposition, it rises. The intonation goes up like a jet. We can practice that a lot if you want. Phenomenal. This is a difficult word. Throw it in Youglish, guys.
Stage. Social entrepreneurship. Yeah, absolutely. Phenomenal.
Phenomenal.
Be phenomenal. You just are phenomenal, and you will attract phenomenal. What?
Into this website, but is a pretty phenomenal concept where you get paid to answer home.
Just throw this in here. You guys can listen to it on your own if you want. Phenomenal means something great, something wonderful. And it comes from this word phenomenon. Right? If something is a phenomenon, it's some kind of mystery. It's a thing that happens, like the aurora borealis, those lights, the Arctic lights, the phenomenon, right? It's not common. And things that are wonderful or full of wonder, they're not common things. We're not supposed to use them all the time, you know? We're supposed to reserve it for really wonderful, great things. Then we say, it's phenomenal. How was your breakfast? If I say, it was phenomenal. You wouldn't believe me anymore. I would say it was delicious. It was good. It was good. Right? But when you start saying everything is phenomenal, then nothing is phenomenal.
Reality, but confers on phenomena a certain feeling.
He is one of the most astute observers of that phenomenon. And he has his...
A phenomenon is something like that doesn't happen often.
What's that? That's what psychologists call the phenomenon of assuming that your ideology is based in love.
It's this phenomenon in which our unconscious motivations, our desires and fears shape
ceased, and evolution became a cultural epigenetic phenomenon.
See, lots of science, okay? This is when you watch something like Youglish, all these YouTube videos, you start to see the context, where it's being said, right? TED Talks, things about science, right? Phenomenal, motivational speakers are using this word often, right? And the last one is lack. Very common word, use it often, learn all about it. All right, I'm not gonna do these things. Let's just do this main idea, and then I'll let you guys do the rest for homework. Let's just do the first one. All right, main ideas, true or false, okay? Read each statement, decide if it is true or false according to the reading. Did you guys do the reading? If it is false, change it to make it true. I would love for you to do that. Discuss your answers with a partner. Okay, so number one, the story about Pixar simply tells how money talks. True or false? Write it in the box. F or T. Chat box. We gotta use the chat box, guys. I'll give you $1. If you use the chat box, you can have a stock in my company. Bob Wynn Company. Is it simply about money? False. Thank you, Khan. Of course not. It's a story about other things. Technical innovation, creativity, teamwork, right? Also involve creativity, perseverance, hard work, all of that, right? So let's talk also, I don't know, innovation. I don't write very well anymore. Does anybody else have this problem? Like you just don't write with a pencil anymore? And you forget how to do stuff? Like I can't write anymore. This is too slow. Creativity. And teamwork. I should just type. I think God is telling me to just type. All right, number 2, Catmull. Edwin Catmull used his computer expertise to create the high-resolution images that Pixar team is famous for. Is that true or false? Where can we find this information? This is true. And whenever we know something is true, it's always a great idea to go back to the reading. Creative, innovative software, computers, graphics. This included an imaging computer, the Pixar. He made this computer, which could create high-resolution color images of anything from buildings and cars to tornadoes and aliens, right? This computer, Edwin Catmull, he invented that, okay? It's always good to find where the evidence is when you're answering these questions. Number 3, Lucas found it easy to sell his company in 1986. Was it easy to sell his company? True or false? Number 3. Let's find out where we... Khan says false. Okay, let's look for evidence. Needed special effects. He enticed 2 over the next years, created innovative computer companies, blah, blah, blah. When Lucas had to sell the group in 1986, right, the only taker was Steve Jobs. So how many people wanted to buy Lucasfilms or this Lucas group for technology? Just one. Okay, So that probably means it wasn't that popular of an idea, having a group of CGI artists, computer-generated imagery. So yeah, I would say, and Khan, you're right, but be bold, be courageous. I would say, you know, it was not easy because there was only one taker. Okay? And this is talking about buying something. Only Steve Jobs wanted to buy it. You know, do I have any takers? It means that you want to buy something. It's not commonly used that way, but when we're talking about auctions, like selling things like going once, going twice, sold. Do I hear $50, $50, $60, $60, $70 to the man over there, $80? Do you guys know this? The auctions? Yeah. All right, number 4. Steve, or sorry, I wish people just called me Wins, I do. No. Jobs' idea to work with the entertainment industry eventually assured Pixar's success. Number 4, is that true or false? Did he work with the industry before? Entertainment industry? Because originally they just wanted a company that could do special effects, right? Originally, Pixar, the people in Pixar were working with Star Wars, George Lucas, Industrial Lights and Magic. That's what the company was called. They didn't plan on making hit animations like Toy Story or Up or any of these other movies. Right? And the more importantly, where can we find this information? Let's go back to our reading. Okay. Steve Jobs stayed at home. Looking for a buyer. Why are they always selling this company? Okay, so number 8. In the first negotiation, okay, to negotiate is this word. Negotiation is a noun for it, okay? This is when we're making a deal, we're making a bargain, we're arguing about something. Somebody wants this much, somebody wants this much. Somehow we get to here, right? Negotiations. If you're in a job and you want to get paid more money, you talk to your manager, you negotiate, you say, hey, I'll do more of this work, but you have to pay me more. I don't know. Jobs had a lack of experience in the entertainment business and settled for a small percentage of the profits, right? He didn't know this industry very well, and so he didn't get a lot of money. Yeah, and then finally he changes. Okay, he became a billionaire because of that. So this would be true, right? They work with what industry, what company? With Disney. Okay, for Disney, knowing how to tell a good story was as important as having technical expertise. True or false? Number 5. So we're comparing, right? We're talking about, yes, true, right? So those 2 things are important. You have this technical expertise, this ability to, use fancy computers, make lifelike animations, all sorts of things, textures, and beautiful stuff. It's just as important as good storytelling. I don't know. I always say good storytelling is always more important. Just because it shines, just because it sparkles, doesn't mean it's good, guys. Last one, number 6. Roy Disney was not a very good business leader. Is that true or false? Roy Disney is the nephew of Walt Disney, the man who made Disneyland, who made that place, Disneyland, in my hometown. False. How do we know that? Let's look. Talking about Roy. So, you know, it's important to be able to like look and find where you find this evidence, right? Just like in your writing class, we talk about supporting sentences. We need to find the evidence. We need to figure it out, right? So Walt Disney's nephew, Roy Disney, staged a coup inside the Disney board of directors, changed the leadership, and purchased Pixar. Okay, sounds like he's a pretty good businessman to me, and strong and savage and just destroying people. That's like a really strong word, right? When you use the word coup. To mean like throwing everybody out, almost like in a bloody way, but without blood, right? It's an idiom. You know, we're using it as a way to say how quickly, maybe how like forceful it was. I don't think anybody was killed in this coup, right? But maybe people's feelings were hurt. Maybe people lost their jobs, right? So it was kind of a dangerous thing, you know, because it takes risk to try to overthrow, to have a coup. We don't have coups anymore, do we? Okay, so he was a good business leader. He had a coup. He had a successful, a drastic, successful coup attempt. And I don't like talking about coups in Turkey, but your book's talking about it, so. All right, main ideas, awesome. We don't have that much time. I want to talk about some other problems. Close reading. You guys do this. I'll give you the answers next week. Let me open this so you can see the answers. I'll share this with you after class again. Answer these. Look at the vocabulary, any of these synonyms. Okay, so cross out the words that is not a synonym. Words with the same meaning for the words in bold. And if you don't know what these words mean, awesome, check it out. Okay, to be shrewd is an adjective, and it means that you're like clever. Okay, a shrewd person, and it kind of has a sneaky meaning. Okay, there's an animal called the shrew, and he like lives underground. He's really angry. He's like an angry, I don't know, like an angry rat that lives underground. So anything that's shrewd is like clever, but like kind of in a clever, I don't know. I love that word. Do that. Find your new words. If you have a new word, send it to me. I'll add it to the Quizlet. Any of these words that you don't understand, like the word apprehension, what does that mean? Look it up. Let's find it by context. Why not? To apprehend somebody is another word. Okay, and that means like a police thing.
Persons who shall apprehend and bring to justice John Frost, who stands charged with
thoughts and actions, things we fully apprehend with our brain.
Number of people we apprehend, remove, return, or repatriate every.
Helped Sergeant Pugilis apprehend him.
Sympathetic person, but often that another person would apprehend them. And
okay, so apprehend means to like capture somebody. Okay, and that usually is with the police. But there can be an idea that captures us, so it apprehends us. The word apprehension means to be like caught up.
An apprehension about an alienating future. People tend to.
But upon recognition, apprehension quickly gives way to happy rumbles.
Okay, so remember the word apprehend means to be captured. Okay, when we have an apprehension about something, we hesitate. We don't do it quickly because we're caught. We're like, oh, what do I do? What do I do? Right? Just like if the police apprehended you, you'd be surprised. You wouldn't be able to move, right? Because they captured you. So apprehension means something like hesitation. And we can look that word up. And you can add it to our thingamabobber. And why don't we just add it? Because I don't know what that word means sometimes. Okay. Shun makes this an adjective. makes this a noun, right? I'm just going to choose the first one. You guys can yell at me if it's wrong. Just my way of doing things. I go with my intuition, the first one. Okay, once we're done with this, we can press done. All right, so go ahead, do all of these things. We'll check the answer next week. When you're taking notes, it says circle names. You can do different things, right? I don't know who has like different color pens. Like you have a red pen for this, a blue pen for this, a purple pen for this. I have a pen that has 4 colors on it. Right? Does it come on, focus? Yeah, there we go. My hands are dry. It's okay. There's like red, blue, green, black, something. And a pencil. Okay? Some people are nerds. I'm a nerd. I understand. I'm a nerd. Okay? So figure out your way of taking notes. It's important, okay, to take notes. Your teachers tell you, and you know, learn how to take some notes. There's no listening class, but in the writing class, we'll have to take some notes in order to write. I'm going to teach you my method of taking notes. We'll have fun with it. You can do it as an assignment. All right, match the people in the Pixar stories with their roles. Go ahead, do that. Skipping all of this. Skip. We'll talk about it next week. Let's read the story, The Map of Innovation. Okay. Think to yourself. Okay. Discuss the question with yourself. If you were an entrepreneur in a new company, what kind of people would you hire to help you? Okay? And what would you be looking for in an employee? Would you just hire your friends and your family? We call that nepotism. I don't know if you know. It's something that nepotism. One of those isms. Always fight the isms, guys. And nepotism is when you just hire your family for everything.
The evangelical world has a lot of nepotism in it, and so it's
in high office. They knew it could lead to bribery, nepotism, and the abuse of power.
But the other thing is, like, thing about nepotism in the art world is, if I was a samurai sword maker, I'd hang out with ninjas, do you know?
Nepotism, those things occurred. I devote a lot.
If you are a ruler, not to engage in greed or nepotism.
Okay, so this term we often see with things like government, business, right? But what about you? If you had a company, what kind of people would you hire? Write it in the chat. I don't know. I always look for... I always look for generous people. And that means that they like to share. Okay? People who like to share information. There's something about that. When you meet somebody and they just want to talk to you about, like, oh, I just found this out. I just learned something new. Oh, let me teach you something, you know? I find that that's like what I want in a company. People who are always searching for new things, new ways of doing things, okay? But not my brother. Not my sister either. I would probably kill them both. We're just different, you know? What about you? I'm not. No, I'm the middle. I'm the middle child. My sister's the youngest. She's just a little baby. And then I have my older brother, and he looks old. So I'm in the middle. There's not many middle childs anymore. What about you? Any middle childs? Many middle children out there? number 2 and 3, or 3 and 5, or 4 and 7. Just have one sister. See, this is like the world now. The middle child is all dying off. Nobody's having 3 kids anymore. They're just having 1 or 2 or 20. You can't have a middle child with 20. I think the true middle child is when you have 3 children in the middle, you know? Very middle. But yeah, I'm the middle child. I get to run away. My sister's the baby, you know? My brother's the oldest, so he has to take care of responsibilities, but he didn't. I got to go run away to the other parts of the world, visit Japan, live there, travel to other countries. There's no like expectation on me, like, Bob, you have to take over the house or the business. No. You're the baby, you can't run away. No. I was just freedom. It means freedom. Anyways. So yeah, I would hire middle childs only too for my company. Just because they know how to take risk. They're not afraid to, you know. They're not held back by their parents. They're just like more creative. Yeah. All right. So we talked about different things, reading strategies. Okay. One of those reading strategies is read the first paragraph, right? Look at the title. You can find the meaning from that. You can read the 5 topic sentences, okay? We're going to look at the 5 topic sentences in this reading, and we're going to circle the keywords that preview the main ideas. Then we're going to write these words on the lines, okay? So remember that thing about topic sentences? It has a topic, the main, the subject, and it has this controlling idea, the thing that kind of limits us. We're not talking about all teams, you know, we're talking about the specific one, okay? But we want to just write the topic down. So we can call this skimming, okay? We're going to skim by reading the topic sentences, okay? And what does the word skim mean? It can be a verb. It could be an adjective. If you're talking about skim milk, skimmed milk. I think it's skimmed milk. Skimmed milk.
Versus what would really leave you frustrated or feeling like I just skimmed the surface and didn't.
And an acknowledgement that they're probably about to be raped.
Oh, don't talk about that.
Staircase trying to carry a half gallon of skim milk up to my.
What's skimmed mean? Is it like all? Is it like health? I mean, is it whole milk? Is it full of all the fat? Or do you think it's less? And if you skim something, what do you think you're doing? We often use this, we hear this with the word milk, skim milk, skimmed milk, skimmed milk. Okay? It means kind of just getting the surface, right? So maybe you only drink parts. Skim milk, I think they put water in it. It's disgusting. You know, if you're going to drink water, drink water. If you're going to drink milk, drink milk. If you want half and half, drink a glass of water and then a little bit of milk. But why buy water when you can get it from the tap? The tap. I know I talk too much. Okay. Skimming is a reading technique that is used to get a quick gist of a text. Okay, so instead of reading the whole thing all at once, we're going to skim it. We're going to read the topic sentence, that first sentence, right? And that's usually the case. If it's a question that you see, it's not a topic sentence, so skip until you find the first sentence, not a question. Sentences are questions. Of a paragraph, and especially the key word in it. It will help you get the gist or main idea of each paragraph in a text. Okay, so when we think about key words, okay, think about a key, right? And what does a key do? A key unlocks something, right? So we want to find something that will unlock the meaning of the paragraph, of the sentence, if we find this key word. Once we find the key word, we kind of have an idea. Okay, what kind of words are key words? Let's write it out. So keywords, okay, are any nouns, any adjectives, no, any verbs, okay, any adjectives. I'm gonna say in this order too. Okay, and any adverbs. Nouns, verbs, adjectives, adverbs, right? Because usually here with the noun we have something like the subject. Okay, here we have like actions. Here we have things that describe. So we'll call it description. Notice the spelling changes. Sorry. And then adverbs. How, the manner something is done, how something is done. My pencil is really slow today. So keywords are all these things. Okay? When you take notes, you want to focus on the keywords. Just like when you're reading and you're skimming and you're looking for the gist, this kind of like, you know, the big idea of this thing. You want to focus on those words. Don't focus on the prepositions. You know, don't even read those. Just pass those in your brain. A good English speaker and a good English reader, when they're reading, they don't really look at those things, the prepositions and things like that. We don't focus on that. We focus on those key words, and I'm going to show you what I mean. We focus on those keywords, and then everything else kind of comes into your brain. Okay, so let's try. Okay, we're gonna read the first sentence in each paragraph. Let me check. Circle the keyword that preview the main ideas. Then write these keywords on the lines. Okay, the first one they have is teams. Let's find some more. So you guys go ahead. Read the first paragraph sentence. Sorry, not the sentence. Read the topic sentence. Okay. Go ahead, underline it, and circle any key words that you think are important. You can do this in your book. If you have a PDF, I don't know, use the tools that you have. Take a stick and write it in the sand. Let me see what this is again. Okay, so circle the keywords. Yes. Okay. I'm looking only at the topic sentence. Look at the 5 topic sentences we're reading and circle the key. Yeah. I'm getting old. Okay, number 1. Anything negative, okay? The only time I think the word not is actually a key word. Okay? I'm going to just do this. Okay? Maybe care. Care is not so important, but the word smart, accomplished, in your life. We're talking about life. How revolutionary. Your product concept. So that's like a compound noun, right? Product concept is great. Is great companies. Ooh, see? Great companies, not just stupid companies. Great companies are built by teams of people and not, see, I love not, solely. Do you guys know what that means? Okay. CEOs or founders. That's the, what's it called? Let's just do all those. And it looks like a lot. That's a long sentence, right? But let's do something fun. Every day is fun. I'm just going to write out these words in the same order. And I do think the word not Someday you guys are going to help me with this, okay? Brave students out there, come to class. Brave students. I'm going to put this together, okay? Any word that's kind of like a compound noun, even if it has a adjective, I guess great company is the better, right? Product concept, right? Let's put great companies together. 'Cause otherwise, we don't know which companies they're talking about. Dumb companies? No. Our verbs built. We got the word team. Okay. Teams of people, right? I would keep that together. I don't think people is as important. But I would have to say the word not. I always capitalize not. Solely. CEOs. Let's see why I'm doing this. Why, Mr. Bob, why are you doing this? What are you doing to us? Okay. I'm going to get away from the text. I'm going to move all this fun stuff. Smart, accomplished, life. Okay? We got the meaning, right? Smart, accomplished life. How? I think there was a not. Okay. How revolutionary. Product concept. Makes a great company. Built by teams. Okay? And here's where the not is so important. Where we have to know where the not goes. Okay? Not. I'm going to make this red. Because I think negatives are super important. Solely. Okay? And that word means only. Right? And we can start doing fun things with this. I love doing this. If you guys are like graphical people, if you guys are visuals like me, you're going to love all these tools. So not solely, you know? We don't even need the sentence, right? If you look at this, smart, accomplished life, revolutionary, product, concept, great company, built, teams, not solely CEOs, founders. Remove all that extra stuff, all the articles, the prepositions. We get an understanding of these words. We don't have to use them all in the paragraph, but, you know, I think it's a good idea. So this is what this is going to talk about, right? It's actually talking about teams, okay? And I'm going to say that's the most important thing. Let's make this super big. And that would be the main concept, okay? I want you guys to start visualizing, looking at like the text differently, okay? And the ways that you can do this. Sometimes it's by diagramming, you know, sometimes it's by highlighting. If you have a different color, use that. Number 2, I'm just going to read the first. I always look. People's not so important. Smarter. Who are way smarter. Okay? This is like a slang that we use for very, right? He's way smarter than me. It's slang, so be careful. Okay? If you see it in front of an adjective, it just means very. Okay? He's way cooler than all of us. He's way smarter than average. Okay? And I don't know, do something like that. So the word would be smarter, I think. 2, 3, guys, go ahead. Jump into it. I'm right, smarter. So out of all of those words, out of all these keywords, right? And way is an intensifier. I wouldn't, just pointing it out to you. Yeah, I would think that smarter is the most important of these. Dude, smart is good. Okay, so I think paragraph number 3, this should actually be a comma. Okay, because it's actually one idea. You can make that lowercase b. Smart is good, but smart in and itself isn't enough, right? Smart is good. Smart in itself. Smart in and of itself. Okay, this is a phrase. Money in and of itself isn't enough. Beauty in and of itself. Okay, we can't just focus on one thing. That's what it's saying. So whenever you see that, it's a phrase that means not just that, but other things are important. Okay, so smart in and of itself isn't enough. And I would say, what would I say here? He says isn't, yeah. Okay, so even though that's just one sentence, think about it as two. Okay, your book does the same thing. Again, I'm gonna circle that not though, and enough, right? Enough. So what the book says is this one is the key. Smart isn't enough, right? Smart is good, but smart in itself is not enough. See how that sentence goes? It's pretty good. Number 4, in sports, we call the limit of somebody's ability to endure everything, to endure his pain threshold. Okay. Once again, we have a compound noun, 2 words connected together. Can't really separate them because it doesn't make sense if you do in this context. Okay, and that's the main thing, right? You'll often find that the most important thing in a sentence is the last thing. That's just the way that English works. Our verb is not at the end, like Turkish. And usually we like to end with the strongest idea. So pain threshold. What does that mean? A threshold. What is that? We know pain, right? You get hit. There's an emergency. So it's how far you can take pain until you just explode or die. I gotta go fast. Okay, the boss's role is to make sure the boss. Whoops. Role talking about. Sure, make sure. I put those together normally. Organization is going in the right. I would put these two together, right direction, and to act with integrity. See, that's just one sentence. Oh, you crazy book. Oh, why are you so crazy? The boss's role is to make sure the organization is going in the right direction. I would stop it right there. Okay, so here we're going to talk about the boss's role. Okay, that's what's going to focus on. Boss's role is to make sure the organization is going in the right direction. What's the right direction? Nobody knows. Nobody knows. Nobody knows. All right. The map of innovation, creating something out of nothing. Go ahead, read that. Think about different ways that you can organize your brain. If you're a visual person like I am, you know, I find that just writing it in different ways helps me see this. So this is paragraph 1 that I'm looking at. I'm going to bold it, make it giant. Bold. Okay. And when you look at it this way, things pop out differently, you know? It's like when you've rearranged things. So get out a piece of paper. Get out these little post-it notes. Write the words down. Throw them on the table. Make sentences. See what comes out to you as important, right? We'll try to do a fun activity. Let's do that next week. Okay. Got a few more minutes, and then I'll let you go. Go ahead, read all these things, answer all these questions. We'll check them next week. And okay, let's uncover this. So chapter 1 some difficulties. Oh God. You guys had we made a Mentimeter, and you guys wrote some of the things that you found difficult. Thank you very much for doing that. 10 of you did it. Actually, it wasn't difficult. If this was you or whatever, great. Thank you so much. But let's look at certain things. I gotta copy this one though. Hold on. So we'll just do it over here. I gotta delete this thing. Okay. But more fundamentally, so somebody was asking about the meaning of this word. And before we find the meaning of this word, why don't we do what I always want to do? Fundamental. Fundament. So that's not a word. Fundamental is an adjective. Okay? It describes something that's like a very core belief. The fundamental thing about me is I'm a teacher, right? The number one thing. Let's look at fundamental.
Company more profitable in a fundamental sense. I haven't.
Them up. Start with fundamental research, then translate that research into new therapeutics for.
Okay, so you can think of fundament as like the foundation, almost foundation.
Our patients.
Waves from the fundamental era.
Okay, so fundamental again from like this core, this like beginning, the most important.
Here's
thing.
how they found it.
Well, that fundamental sense of oneness is
really fundamental bad decisions.
Like really number one bad decision.
And
development has to remain a fundamental pillar of American foreign policy and a key part. Development has to remain a fundamental pillar of American foreign policy.
Okay, fundamental, something that's like core, number one, right? If we look at our dictionary, fundamental something, it's a necessary base or core. See, the center, the most important, of central importance. Okay, so when we say the word fundamentally, it's an adverb that describes something that is central, core, primary, prime, right? So then we can listen to this word. I know it's long. Fundamental.
Part of who we are, and those that believe that technology is fundamentally unnatural.
Institution that will fundamentally change how we exchange value.
Okay, so it's really going to change. She's using it as like this kind of intensifier, a word that makes things stronger.
Government. Now, this startup is fundamentally beginning to disrupt the way government does business from the inside.
Okay, it's like centrally, it's like really going to. I don't know. In this sense, I think it just means really. Okay, so you can think about it more fundamentally. You know, again, this one would be something like the same phrase as saying, what I would say is more importantly. Don't change. Okay? And I think it would have the same meaning, right? So let's read this. Somebody had a question about this. Okay, so I would say something like that. More importantly, his college tuition was going to eat up all the money he had saved. All the money they had saved. Was it they had saved? Okay, so I would say it's like the same thing. So don't get hung up on that one word. You know, it's not so important. What is important is the rest of it all, right? You can cut that out. His college tuition was going to eat up all the money they had saved. His parents had saved. Okay? That's the more important part. You know, whenever you see this comma thing at the beginning, it's a linking thing. It links. It's going from this first sentence and it's kind of transitioning you. You know, he didn't like college. He spurned taking regular classes, right? So that's one reason he didn't want to go to school. And now they're saying more important reason though, but more importantly, but more fundamentally, the biggest reason he dropped out of school was because he didn't have money. Their family didn't have money, right? And if we look at the reading, yeah, that's what they're kind of getting to. Okay. Somebody asked, what did they ask in the box? Where is my box? I'll put my box over here, and then I'll let you guys go soon. All right. Go back to that. Dropping out of college. Somebody asked just about it. So when you give me these questions, try to ask me why you find it difficult. Okay, dropping out of college was a very scary decision. Okay, so this is what we were talking about in writing class, guys. If I can find it. This is what we were talking about in writing class. So remember when we have a topic sentence. Let's just call this a topic sentence, okay? It's not quite a topic sentence. But what's our topic here? What is the subject of this sentence, ladies and gentlemen? Is it college? Okay. No. So I'm going to use red to show this. Dropping out of college is a noun. It's the subject of our sentence. It's what we call the topic. We can also call this the subject. Okay? So we're talking about when somebody drops out of college. Okay? And specifically, we're talking about Steve Jobs here, right? And the next part, what we call the controlling idea, okay, was a scary decision. So this is what we call the controlling idea. Okay? So imagine if you said, hey, I hate school, I'm going to drop out, okay? And then you can say it was a scary decision, okay? It is a scary decision. You're changing your whole life, right? And so we can make any event, we could say swimming is a scary thing. First, I don't know, people who can't swim, right? Swimming is fun, right? That's a sentence that we can make using what we call this thing, okay? And this thing is what we call the gerund. I don't know if you guys know. But gerund is a verb plus ing, and then it becomes a noun, okay? Swimming, dancing, right? Dancing is fun, okay? Dancing underwater is not fun. I don't know, right? We can change the topic anytime we want by adding more information, right? This whole thing is the topic sentence, not just that one word, right? This is what we call a noun phrase, okay? And it can replace something like the object, okay? Even this was a scary decision. That's an adjective plus a noun. That this thing, a scary decision, is also what we call a noun phrase, right? And I'm just going to bore you because I think you need to know this, especially with writing, okay? So you could just say, college is scary. And that's simple, right? But we want to describe what we're doing in college. This time we're dropping out of college, right? A really simple sentence would be, yeah, college was, that's not a beautiful looking W, Bob. Scary. Okay? And that's like too simple. We're not talking about that, right? But we have our controlling idea. We have our topic, but now we're adding more to it, right? We're adding adjectives. We're describing it better. We're not talking about just college. We're talking about dropping out of college, right? College is scary. College was scary. Dropping out of college seems to be even scarier, okay? And then the next part of the sentence would be, but Jobs felt Jobs felt that he had to follow his interest and intuition. Okay, and that means that you're following not a human being. You're not walking behind them. Remember, so follow has many different meanings. One could be walking behind. Okay, and another one could be. This one is different. Like your dream. Let's say, for example, your dream is here and it's going away from you and you're just going after it. You know, you're running after your dream. That's a man running. So there's two different meanings that we have. Something we follow an idea, it's going and we're chasing after this idea, this goal, this dream. The other one would be walking behind someone, right? And you're following them. I've stolen your life. I'm sorry. Thank you for coming. I'll answer more of these next time. But if you have any more questions, I'll send another thing. I don't think I like the Mentimeter for this. We'll use a Padlet. So yeah, read those two things. We'll discuss it next week. And then we'll move on. Where are we moving on to in week 4? Chapter 2, okay? So after reading all of that, go to chapter 2, read about psychology, fears and phobias. Great topic. We'll watch some videos about that stuff. Read some more. Find your extensive reading. So if you have a fictional book that you like that's over 2,000 words, start reading it. Let me know what book it is. Look at the Quizlet. Add new words. Find new words that you don't know. Come to class, participate, write in the chat box, talk to me. If you guys ever want to talk after class, let me know. And I'll try to make some interview times for one-on-ones, okay? So maybe we'll have one class where I cut it short. The last hour, we'll talk about just one-on-ones and whatever you guys want to do. All right, so thank you for coming. You guys get out of here, and let me say what I said in the beginning of the class. Bye, everyone. I already talked about that. More messages below. Bye. Bye, bye, bye. Get out of here. I'm going to describe these things. Or you can stay. Anyways, I'm just going to keep recording for all those people at home watching. I'm going to split this up into 2 sentences. Honored this vow. The jobs, family honored this vow. I wouldn't put a comma in this vow. Recognizing Steve's ability, doing everything in their power to give him a chance in life. Okay, what was this vow? If we look back at the context, the vow was, yes, he's gone, goodbye. Okay, this vow that he made was related to what? That his birth mother, the mother that gave birth to him, wanted him to be raised by college graduates, people that finish college or university. His father never finished high school, his adopted father, his real father, 1000%. I understand. Don't fight me. And his mother, who didn't finish college, So they made a vow to her to say, hey, we're going to recognize Steve's abilities, his intelligence, his personality, and doing everything in their power to give him a chance in life. So chance in life, that's always a cool one, right? We all have a chance in life. We're given a chance in life when we're born. But, if I give you a chance in life, it means that I'm giving you an opportunity, okay? Like a good opportunity to do something. Maybe you get to take a special trip or you get like a free tuition to the Ivy League school, Harvard, or something like that. Okay, so this could mean something like an opportunity. All right. So the George family honored this vow. Okay. Here we have our subject. Switch my colors. Okay. Here we have our honored this vow. You know, and what I would probably add here is by. That's the word that belongs there. It doesn't have to. Okay. How did they honor it? Okay. You know, I came to school by car. How did I come to school? By car. I don't have a car. Honored this vow. How did they do it? By recognizing Steve's abilities and by doing everything in their power to give him a chance. Okay? So that's what this means. I don't know why your book, you know, I would leave it in honored this vow, recognizing Steve's abilities and doing everything in their power. That's what it means. To honor a vow means to not break a promise, right? So they made a promise to the birth mother, hey, we're going to do everything we can so that he becomes a college graduate. You can honor your vow if you get married by being faithful, by doing, you know, by being generous and kind to your partner, your husband, your wife, whatever. And so honoring something means that you don't break the promise. I can honor like my friendship by coming every day, by being their friend, by being kind, by helping, you know, by not like, you know, lying to friends, right? We can honor people. If you have honor, that's an adjective as well. Sorry, that's a noun. If you have honor, things that you can have, then, you know, you have some kind of sense of justice. You do good things for people. You don't steal. If you're honorable, it could also mean that you don't lie. It has many different meanings. Look up those meanings, right? This is one of those words that can keep getting changed, okay? But here, it's a verb in the past tense, honored, so that they honored this vow. And what the next part means, they did this by recognizing Steve's, okay? Because remember, after a preposition like by, we need a noun, right? And how do we make a verb into a noun? We add that ing. Now it's a gerund, that special thing, right? They honored this vow, 1, by recognizing Steve's abilities, 2, by doing everything in their power to give him a chance in life. And a chance in life doesn't mean like giving birth to him or not killing him. It means giving him more opportunities than he could have normally, right? You know, maybe somebody's poor, grows up with no money. To give somebody a chance in life, it doesn't mean that you're not going to kill them. It means that, you know, maybe you can find a free tuition for them, or you give them money so that they can study without having to get a job and stuff like that. I don't know what his parents did. They obviously saved money for his college tuition. Okay. So hope that answered your questions on that. Let's just do all of these ones. You guys can watch again. I forgot to record the beginning parts, which is, I think, fine. So make sure you read everything from readings, the Pixar story, the map of innovation. I'll do a recording of it. You can watch those. Okay, so soon after the commercial release of a new product, okay? So this is kind of that beginning part, right? The little introduction to sentences. Just like, when I was born, blah, 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 right? Soon after, we're setting the timing for something. Just like if you say, in the morning, I go to something, right? That in the morning with the comma, right? It's just telling extra information. We could put this at the end as well. But a lot of times when we write a sentence, we want to kind of give our reader the sense of, you know, set the time, the setting, you know, just like once upon a time, comma, right? We're telling a story. Here I want them to know the events, okay? Something happens, then something else happens. So soon after the commercial release, those two words go together. It means when you start to sell something. So the commercial release of the iPhone in 2001, blah, 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 right? The commercial release of PlayStation 5, blah, 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 blah. The commercial release of a new makeup or product or anything. Soon after the commercial release of a new product, the Macintosh, okay? So this is interesting. That commas are important, guys, okay? So this whole bracket is one extra long information, okay? The new product equals Macintosh. That's the name of it, okay? So this comma thing actually stops here. It's all extra information, okay? Let's remove it. Let's just read the next part. A power struggle with the board of director ended with Jobs being pushed out of his company, okay? And this is another idiom. It's a phrasal verb, right? Pushed out, okay? This is one of those phrasal verbs that we have. Okay? Let me turn off this meeting on Teams. I'll come back. Okay, so this is a phrasal verb, right? It has the first verb and then the second part, the particle. It doesn't mean literally to push out. It means to, you know, this coup thing, to take them out of power, okay? To make somebody leave a company. You can't just push them out the door and lock the door and say, don't come back, and throw away the key. You know, that's not how it works. You can push somebody out by, like, you know, treating them badly, even by firing them. You know, it's hard to fire somebody when they're the boss, when they're the leader, right? You can talk about politics all you want. Trying to push somebody out of, you know, power is difficult, and it doesn't just, you can't just say you're fired, right? So that's all. That's the main sentence. A power struggled. Sorry. And what's a power struggle? I'm sorry. You gotta write these sentences clearer for me. What is a power struggle? A power struggle is when, you know, one group and another group, they're fighting for power. We can have a power struggle in the board of directors. We can have a power struggle at the school, foreign languages, with different directors. I don't know. You can have a power struggle in the government. You can have a power struggle with your friends. Maybe you're the leader and somebody else wants to be the top dog in the group. I don't know. A power struggle with the board of directors. And that thing, after I drop my pen, and this whole thing, I'm not going to use purple. I'm going to make this a new line so you can see this better. Okay, so that's one part of the sentence. Let me press that again. I gotta get rid of that. I'm gonna put this right here. It's a verb. Phrasal verb. Okay. We're going to use red to talk about the topic. Okay, a power struggle with the board of directors. This is called sentence diagramming. This whole thing is what we call the topic, which is the subject here. That's long. It's not a power struggle with the mice. It's not a power struggle with your teacher. A power struggle with the board of directors. What happened to it? It ended. Okay, just like the meeting ended with something. A power struggle with the board ended, and then we have our controlling idea. Okay, ended with Jobs being pushed out of his company. How do we do something like this? It ended with music. Okay? What do we have here? We got a preposition, guys. What do we need after a preposition? We always need a noun. Okay? It ended with jobs? No. Okay? Here again, we got this thing. It's the gerund, right? Be plus ing. Being pushed out of his company. Jobs was being pushed out of his company. Ended with Jobs being pushed out of his company. This one's a little difficult. We'll talk about it. Let's talk about it again. Okay. But this whole thing here is telling us what happened at the end of a power struggle with the board of directors. Okay. If you guys can follow this, that's great. If you have more questions, keep asking. Okay. Main things, you need to know the meaning of these words, and then you need to start breaking up this into different parts. Okay. Apple grew so large, okay, so very, that it did something, right? This that is not the relative clause. It means so. This has the same meaning as the word so. Okay? So it did something, right? Apple grew so large, so it hired a businessman to help run the company. What did the businessman do? He helped to run the company. This too, okay, is like talking about purpose again. I went to the store to help my mom. I went home to help my mom, right? Hired a businessman to help run the company. I hired a businessman to help make me coffee. I hired a businessman to help teach my classes for me. Okay, don't do that. So that is different. Okay, how do we know which that it is? You just have to see the ideas sometimes. Grew so large. You can remove it. Why don't we remove that? You know, if we cover it up. Apple grew so large. It hired a businessman to help run the company. Okay, so how do we make a complex sentence? We have to connect them with these logical ideas, these signal words, these connectors. Okay, so here we're doing like a cause and effect. Okay, the cause was that it grew so large. I don't know why. There's another cause for that. The cause that grew so large, so the effect was they had to hire a businessman to help run the company. Before that, they were just nerds, computer guys, right? Okay, the last one is really, it's creative, okay? So if you don't understand it, you have to add some extra things, okay? A great businessman, innovator, magician. Who are they talking about? Okay, why is there a question mark? Obviously, they're talking about Steve Jobs, right? Steve Jobs was a great businessman. Steve Jobs was an innovator. Steve Jobs was a magician. He made magic. Right? Okay, so then how do we make this into a question? Okay, was Steve Jobs a great businessman? Was Steve Jobs an innovator? Was Steve Jobs a magician? Okay, so that's the idea that's missing. Okay, and they're doing that because they want to be creative. Okay, you know, a great student, a great leader, blah blah blah. You know, Bob Wynn. So yeah, think about it like as a commercial. Okay, this is not grammatical. Okay, if you wrote this on your essay, I would say F. Okay, a man of destiny gone too soon. Okay, imagine that like as a trailer in a movie about Steve Jobs. Once upon a time, there was a man. Blah blah blah. A great businessman, innovator, magician, a man of destiny gone too far. Okay, and this phrase, a man of destiny, what does it mean? Nobody knows. What is destiny? Destiny is like fate, right? You're supposed to do something. You're meant to do something great. Okay, so if you're a man or a woman of destiny, it kind of has this idea that you were supposed to be the greatest the greatest leader of all time, the greatest inventor of all time. But he died, and he left soon. He left too early, so gone too soon. This gone means to pass away, to die, to not be here anymore, right? To die, to lose your life. Okay, and this is not grammatically correct, right? You can ask something like, was Steve Jobs gone too soon? Was Steve Jobs, who's a man of destiny, gone too soon? Okay, we know who we're talking about. This whole essay has been about Steve Jobs, so we don't have to mention it. But it is creative. This whole thing it smells of creativity. Okay, and you can do this once you get really good at writing. But I would recommend not using it. Creative writing. And I would say this is not grammatical. So be careful with these. It's kind of more artsy, right? A great businessman, innovator, magician. Make some sentences about yourself. A great student, a great friend, a lover of animals. Question mark. Was he these things? That's what we're asking. A man of destiny. Doesn't come to class. Yeah, it's a weird one. But yeah, it's creative. Have fun with those things. Listen, read as much as you can. Sorry I forgot to press record at the beginning of the class, but you get to watch all of this. I'm going to make a little survey if you guys can help me. I don't know if I'm teaching well. I can't tell. I can't look at your faces. I can't hear anything. There's no text messages or chats or anything, except for from some students, which I thank you. Yeah, and I talk too fast. I know, but I can't tell because there's no input. There's no output. No, there's lots of output, no input. All right. Peace out, guys. I'll see you later. Oh, and see you on Thursday. Bye. I think a nap.